She had a big sale today.
Oh my God! I forgot to put the book back.
Just so we went to bed and then Donna's nurse came over. And so we were together for lunch and then their house.
Did you ever get past her yourself?
No, I haven't.
Everybody got quiet.
Baked Zeta.
Oh, you were there?
Bean soup with ham.
These guys here, I think, see what we're gonna share, because we're kind of,
It was good.
Walt here needs one. Agenda. So Kyle, your neighbor, or whatever. I got two left here, if somebody needs to. Hey! Holy smoke, who left the door open? Hey,
I got the key.
you got the key? Here, you come on in, mister, and sit down. Let me get you a chair. Someone sitting here? No, all right. Now sit up here, mister. Dick?
First you want me to hold.
Yeah. Tags, and the only reason we're doing that is just, we have some folks here that we haven't seen before. And when we're done with the program, we like to mill around and talk history, and it's nice if you just put your first name or whatever you want to put on there.
Are you recording?
That's the bell.
Man, we had like a guy from Hollywood here.
My son.
You look familiar.
I'm just saying.
Oh, we gotta stop right.
Is it yours?
We'll get started. Madam Secretary, are you in recording mode?
Yes.
All right. I hope you've gathered already that we're here to have a good time tonight. And we're here to talk some history, to make some new acquaintances, and to just learn a little bit more about the Portland area and surrounding towns. And Robert's rules do apply here, but loosely. So if we have to make big decisions, why we'll we have 20 official members, which is the most that we've had in a very long time, I think since I've been involved, and so that's really great. If you want to join, we can talk after the program. What I'd like to do, since we have so many new people, is very briefly, we're going to go around the room, just give your name, and if you have any short comment about why you're here, or what you're interested in, or where you came from, we'd be delighted to hear it.
And I'd like to know where everybody's from.
Jeannie wants to know where everybody's from. All right, so we can start with Jeannie then, and we'll go all the way around.
I'm Jeannie Beaversdorf, and I'm from Portland area, and I've been here since the early 70s. And I'm a retired school teacher, and I love history, and I love the river.
My name is Cindy Reed. I came here in '53 with TRW opened. My dad helped open it. I've been back and forth, and my husband and I, who's recording, have been here since '69. So,
Lanny, anything to add?
Lanny?
I'm Lanny Reed.
That's our oldest son, David.
I'm Dave.
Hey,
Come down to hear Bob tonight.
yeah, very good.
I'm Pam Swiler. I'm from the Ione County Genealogical Society, and I moved to Lake Odessa in 1983, originally from Kalamazoo, so glad to be here.
In the back there, ma'am.
Okay, I'm Jan Mosser, and I'm here because these gentlemen are going to discuss pharmacies. And since I'm the daughter of a pharmacist, a Portland pharmacist,
Absolutely.
I certainly needed to come tonight. And
And that would be Charles Callahan.
yes, Charlie Callahan.
Very good.
And I'm from Portland, of course. I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
Former administrator of this here library.
For a while, about 30 years, right?
Moving around.
I'm Margaret Sheffer. We moved here from Muskegon in 2012. but I'm a first family of Ionia County because my family's been here for a long time. So we moved back to the family farm.
My name is John Lair. I'm just visiting from Portland.
Hi, John.
I'm Susan Quitz, and I'm happy to see you there, Bob,
Yeah, hi.
from Portland.
I'm Ford Wright. I'm from Portland most of the time, or have been, but right now we live in Lansing.
Boo. Oh,
Everyone right, and I live in Lansing.
Dan Lakin, Portland, forever, except for 18 years when we left and came back.
Jim Lakin, my uncle Fred Mead that had the drugstore, and what I want to hear that Bob Murbaugh bought from my uncle Fred.
That's right, yeah.
I'm Jerry Brown, and he's in between Fred Mead and me. And I'm here to make sure he keeps his facts straight. And I've been here longer than Dr. Jerry Brown.
Okay.
I'm Bob Murbaugh, and I have the program, and he came to be sure that I didn't get in too many fillers. But I thank you for having me.
I'm Diane Fish, and I came because I wanted to hear what Mr. Murrow had to say. I actually was born in Eagle, but I kind of grew up in the Portland area, went to St. Pat's. I've worked at the Review and Observer and several other businesses in town in the past. And I'm interested in history and genealogy.
Hi, and this is my Uncle Bob.
Hi.
I'm visiting here from Missouri, but originally I was born in Traverse City, and my parents moved us to New Mexico when I was 4, and I basically lived there most of my life until we moved to Missouri.
And your name?
Marilyn Jones, I'm sorry.
And well, first in genealogy.
Yeah,
It
genealogy.
was a blessing that she picked this time to come. Otherwise,
All
I
the
wouldn't
stuff
have-
I've been scanning.
We're glad you did. In the back.
I'm Dick McQueen. I've been here ever since 1935. I originated out of Mount Pleasant, Michigan, but this year is my hometown. And I put on a kind of a connoisseur about the history in diagram of the Divine Hotel down here a few months ago. And I'm working on some of the history around Portland yet. I got some paperwork home that got mislaid, which I will present here shortly.
All right, thanks, sir.
I'm Robert Torpsmith, usually known as Torp. I came here by a circuitous route, chasing women. I found this one.
No wonder I didn't find any.
I'm Jerry Torpsmith. His wife.
We're very glad you are.
So am I.
Well, I'm Chuck Carr. I was born October of 1946 on Carr Street. That's just right up off of Union. Big house way in the back. And I've grown up in this town. I've seen a lot of changes. I remember when the Hotel Divine was there. I remember when the depot was still there. And I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of business come, and I've seen a lot of businesses go.
All right.
And I love Portland. I plan on living here until I die.
Paul, you're up.
What? I'm up.
We're just saying your name. Where we're from.
I knew I shouldn't have left.
That's what happens. Leave the room.
What are we supposed to be doing here?
Just a brief comment. Your name?
I'm Walt Sprague. I was born and raised in Detroit, came to Portland in 1940, and been here ever since, except for a little time out for the war.
Moved on my prisoner of war.
Yep.
I'm Ben Dudek. I came here to work in, yeah,
Factory?
No. Holly Cover.
Holly
Oh,
Garber.
Holly Garb then.
Right.
I'm Shirley Bader. Roger's behind me. We moved here in 1968.
I'm Roger Hawbaker, came to Portland in '68 when Central Soy transferred us up here. To work with the feed mill they were just building. I ended up, when I retired, I've been manager there for 25 years.
I'm Jane Riker. My folks live out on the farm on Goodman Road, not too far from where Ford grew up. And except for a brief time out in Arizona, we went out to Arizona for a couple of years, came back. My mom worked at Main and Allen in the early 50s. My dad worked at Ferris Implement Store, and then later on at Sandburns Equipment. My mom and dad went here to school, Brush Street, and I went to the new high school, well, the middle school, which is the middle school now. And I have a couple relatives, well, not really relatives here, but a sister, a cousin here, Diane's a cousin, her sister's a cousin to me, and then Jerry Brown's sister is related to me. And Mr. Murbaugh, I think I went to school with your daughter, Andrea?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
she's here behind me.
Put my name on one, Mike.
I think that's the end, Mike.
Right.
Everybody is, and that only took 7 minutes. That was really fast.
And Gene, can you guys just get a count when we're done? We have a sign-on sheet. Is that going around?
It's down there.
Name and phone number tonight.
Blue pen floating with it.
Hey, all right.
A yellow pad, where's it?
No, it's coming.
Oh, I see.
But I lost a blue pen with the name tags.
Blue pen for the name tags. Does someone have the blue pen?
You have it in front of you.
I do. Why? What do you I got the name tags. I'm holding things up here. The gentleman who just came in, your name please, and maybe just a brief
Lee
comment.
Starks, Portland.
Lee Starks, Portland. About says it all. My name is Mike Judd. We're delighted that you're here this evening. We have an excellent program. Unfortunately, we have a short business meeting that we have to get out of the way. Not too much of decisions or anything, but can we briefly have the minutes of the last meeting? Just any highlights. Program.
Let's see. There were 21 people present, and this is the first I'm seeing this. And so Tracy Radmaker announced that the 4x artist panels were removed from her basement and presumed delivered to the city hall.
We'll have more on that later.
We discussed the guided tour of downtown historic Portland. Approximately 40 people attended the tour, and we're going to participate in the Methodist Church event called Spring School for Adults in May 6th through 10th, and Jeannie is going to do a presentation. And then our next meeting is today, and Lanny gave a report on the computer program for the archives and showed some of the slides that he's been downloading. So, that's about it.
Want a name tag?
Financial report. Did you put a summary in here? Or?
I wrote it
On the edge?
No, on
Is there something else?
Yeah, on the agenda.
yeah, I wrote it on the agenda.
Maybe it's that one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got it right here. Okay, if you want to take a note of our financial report.
Okay, now we're on the table.
In the savings account, we have $797.46. In our checking account, we have $618.60. We have an ongoing CD of $500 for a grand total of $1,916.06. Thank you for that report. Make sure that we don't let this guy get away without introducing himself. What's your name, sir?
Ken Walsh.
Ken, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Ken is a member. I have his name on our membership. We usually get correspondence from the various organizations around. They are available if you're interested in looking at them and finding out what's going on with the various organizations. So those are available. Our old business, it was mentioned in the minutes that we have 4x8 plywood sheets that were in the American Legion Hall for many years, painted by a local artist whose name Lee can help me with. Leland Munson, yes. They're beautiful, big paintings of the dam and of Shotwell Bridge and so forth. We rescued those out of that building before it was raised, and those have been in hiding in the Rademacher basement. And Torp.
There's a correction.
Sir?
I thought Doug had, Doug and I were working in my yard, and I asked him if we could use his truck and do this job, and he said, sure. And I said, well, as soon as I could find out when we can,
Tracy Rademacher.
Yeah.
Yes.
So was home to do it. So when they was done, I thought, well, Doug used
You
to.
thought Doug Lefke had done it.
But he told me he did not. So he doesn't know who did it.
I sent a thank you note to Doug.
You did it! All right, well, send a thank you note to that man in the corner.
They're in the basement of the city hall.
Yes, they are. We have them safe and sound.
That's funny.
Thank you, Shannon.
Ken, did you move all 6 panels in there?
I'm not sure there were 6, but all that she had.
Were they all painted? Because we
Yeah.
only thought there were 2.
2 or 3.
No, there were at least 4.
4. Wow. Wow, we got more art than we thought. This is great.
We also put the Portland Flea Market sign down there.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, all right. Well, that settles that then. I was gonna cross this off and put it on new business next week. All righty.
Goodness.
There was a request for information regarding, it's in your agenda here, exact date of the transfer of Holly Carburetor to TRW. And I believe you have some experts here who can help you fill in those blanks. Perhaps after our event tonight. I'm going to go ahead and purchase 20 more of our Portland area 1869 to 1939 books so that we have them available first for sale to our members, and then we'll figure out that we can sell them somewhere else in town or whatever. I'm going to pass this around. Also, I took the liberty of creating membership cards for those of us who have paid but don't have any evidence that you paid. And I noticed they hadn't arrived yesterday morning, and so I got to doing the research and following the links and so forth, and they've been sitting in Royal Oak in the post office for a week and a half. So I called the company, and they're going to give us a whole new set free and pay for the shipping, but that doesn't help us tonight. So I'm going to pass around what they would look like if they were here. Okay. Hi. Yeah, come on in. As soon as you get settled, we're going to have you introduce yourself. If many of you are following on Facebook, there's a wonderful site called Portland Hometown History. And just a wealth of photographs and information coming out of people's attics and out of their trunks and everything else and getting scanned and presented. And along with that was the story about our local Portland poet, J.K. Swipes, at the turn of the century. And he wrote a book, probably 40 pages of his poems. And it's a small book, and it was leatherette bound. And I would like to reprint that book and have it available for our members and for sale. So I just wondered if there was comments on that. Lee, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's great.
All right. Because I have a copy.
Pretty interesting.
I would definitely like to bring that back. Portland has its own poet laureate.
Kathy Greeno is related to the people. Kathy and Greg
Yeah.
is great-granddaughter of the guy.
Yeah, related to many here in town. So that's why that's on the agenda.
Did you have an estimate?
I'm just getting started, but I can present that to you, or I can go ahead and spend the money, whichever. Whichever we want to do.
Do you need a motion on that, or?
Yeah, let's have a motion.
I make a motion that you go ahead with that project, sounds like a great idea.
I'll second.
I have a second.
I second it.
Any more discussion?
Wait for the secretary.
Yeah, I gotta write that down.
Jeannie made the motion and Margaret seconded.
Motion was that?
Margaret Shepherd.
Discussion? Anybody else?
Oh, what's the name of it?
J.
Oh,
K.
okay.
Swipes.
AK Swipes.
J.
Okay.
All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, very good. Our guest from Ionia area, Pam Swiler, asked to take a few minutes on our agenda today. So Pam, I'm going to give you the floor.
All right, just 1 minute, that's all I want to take of your time, because I know you're anxious to get with this program. As you know, or may know, the Ionia County Genealogical Society has been working very hard to preserve the history of the veterans of Ionia County. We have already published a book on World War II, we've published one on the Korean War, and now we are starting the Vietnam War. This one may be a little tougher because there's a lot of emotion involved in it, a lot of hard feelings and stuff, but we want to honor the veterans of Ionia County. So what I'm asking from you today is to take one of these forms home with you. If you know anyone who has ever been in Ionia County that served during the Vietnam War, and they did not have to go to Vietnam. They just needed to serve during the time period that we're talking about, which is November 1st of 1955 through April 30th of 1975. It's quite a long period. There are folks that have served on the home front, protecting us from the riots in Detroit and everything else. And there are those that served overseas, and so all the information you need is included here. So I'm just going to pass this around. Take one with you. If you don't know someone, please leave it somewhere so someone else might get it, in your local doctor's office, in your dentist's office, in the library upstairs. Could use some extra copies. We need help getting this word out because we do not want to miss one veteran, and it never fails. As soon as we publish the book, we start getting people calling and going, I didn't get in there. We work on these projects take about 3 years to do, and we spend the first 2 years collecting data, and the third year is actually putting the book together. So it's not that we're not getting the word out, we appreciate any help that you can do for that. So I'll pass these forms, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to help you with.
And copies of both of those books you mentioned are in the library upstairs, so they're available. And the requirement, Pam, was just during that time period that they were serving, they just had to live in Ionia County, or?
They could be living in Ionia County today. They could have grew up in Ionia County. They could have worked in Ionia County and lived someplace else. They did not have to live in Ionia County at the time that they served. But at some point, there had to be a connection to Ionia County for us to accept them. And if there's any question at all, we would rather take them, and put them in there anyway with a note than to leave them out. So.
Okay, well, that's a wonderful project, and thank you very much for that. I'm running out of things on the agenda. We have a section called Other Matters. Yes.
Hi. Lee posted a picture of my grandfather on the historical site, and he said he got it from the scrapbook up in the library. So I went looking for it. The scrapbooks are in really, really poor condition. So I would like to make copies of them and catalog them and put them in some kind of an order so that they're easier, that it's easier for people to find articles, plus it would preserve the articles.
Okay, can you work with Lanny and myself after the program, and we can talk about what you have in mind?
Okay.
Okay.
I think some of that's already been done.
Okay.
I think some of that's already been done, so you might want to double check on that.
Okay, we can talk, yeah, let's see what we've got done already and what we needed to get done. That's great, that's exactly what we're after. Is there anything else for the good of the group tonight? Okay, not hearing anything, I would turn the floor over to our guest speaker, a distinguished gentleman who's been a member of this community and served well. And we've asked him to just share a few memories and generate some conversation. And as he said, he has Marilyn is here with him to help with the presentation. So Bob, I'll turn it over to you. Bob Murbaugh.
I thought that eventually you'd get to this, but hello, friend. And at this, I have to exercise my age because as I receive and retain information, it doesn't stick long. But anyway, I have a little presentation and kind of a workup to Portland. And it's a little bit about my family and me. And I don't think that there's anything more boring than having a person talking about themselves, and when they're at my age particularly. This here, as you see it, is my apprenticeship license that I applied for in 1941. My father was a pharmacist in one location for 42 years at the tip of the Little Finger, Michigan, at Northport. And he had a family of 7 children, and we, of course, went through quite a few brutal winters up there, but the thing that was in the summertime, we had a couple of cherry orchards and a drugstore and a gift shop and the post office and a doctor's office. Everything went for 3 months to stay alive for the next 9. And, but anyway, if you just show that next one up. This is his license, and it's 1913. He became a pharmacist. It's just 100 years ago, and I thought that that was significant. Down at the bottom are his grades that he had when he took the pharmacy board examination. And then I think he was a teacher before he became a pharmacist, and so was my mother. And I often thought that when report card day came around, that was the longest supper that we ever had, because he looked at each one and, you know, went filed down to deportment, and if you passed, it was all right. But anyway, he was fundamentally the thing that I was interested in, and when I went down to work, I followed him around, but he never said much of anything to me. And I'd have to ask questions, and he was smarter than I was because he knew that he had me hooked. And I liked what he did, so that's how I got acquainted with pharmacy. So I came out, and in 41, Marilyn's mother was in college, and she went 2 years, and then she came back and she said, Bob, she said, I think you should go. We couldn't both be, she said, Dad couldn't send us both at the same time. So I started out in 43, because she went from 41 to that time.
And I got 3 terms in, and then I got called into service. And that lasted for 3 years. And I came out and I wasn't sure that I wanted to go back and start all over again, because I'd be a 20-year-old completing with, and it was hard to get back to that study program. But I did, and I had to, the first thing was, I missed a part there. When I asked my dad about going to school, he said, well, it's a 4-year course. He said, what 2 years do you want to take? And I said, well, I'll take the first 2. And that was the worst thing that I ever did, because when I came out, I went back and I went in and finished off with the GI Bill, and he never did ask about it. But anyway, that was the way I got involved in pharmacy. And my first job first place I went to practice after I got my license was over in Owasso. And that was quite an experience working for somebody else, and it was a pharmacy. And the first thing, that the way they had it then, the patient would come in and present the prescription to you. You went back into the prescription department, and there was a huge ledger, and you rewrote the whole prescription before it was compounded. And I thought, whoa, this is something. And their archives was really something, with bound ledgers that you had to go to. Anyway, I stayed there not quite a year. There's a friend that I knew in pharmacy school came over, and he said, I've got a job for you. I said, I've got one, I don't need another one. And I said, what is it? And he said, it's a set up with 9 guys over in the thumb area. They had 3 drugstores. And I said, well, if it's so good, why are you leaving? And he said that he wanted to go with Abbott Laboratories on the road, and he didn't care about retail pharmacy. So I went over and looked after it, and I joined up with them, and it was pretty much a sketchy business deal. I didn't realize it until I got going. The head honcho started playing the horses and going down to Florida. And eventually there were a couple of men came in and introduced themselves to me, because I was running that place, and they said, we're so-and-so. One was the president of Hubbard State Bank, and the other one was a retired Ford dealer. And they said, we're taking over. They wanted to know if I would work for them. Well, there was a few things that had to be done, but I did. And I worked for them for 7 years, and finally it came to where one was going to sell out to the other. And I bowed out. I figured, well, in 7 years, if I could get their money back and with interest, I should be doing that for myself. So that's where I wound up here. And I was looking for a store, and there was a salesman that had called on my dad, and he heard that I was looking. And he said, you know, in the letter that he sent, he said, you might go over to Portland. He says, there's a store over there that is for sale. He said, it's probably not what you might be looking for, but he says, historically, it's a very sound business. I had his letter in here. But anyway, we came over, my wife and I, in '58, and it was in the fall. And we drove up in front, went in, and I talked to Fred, and we just didn't know too much, and we didn't drive around. And we thought, well, where is the school, you know? And everything is being down here, and we didn't see that. So I told Fred that I would let him know. And so I went back it was in March. And the first time we came down 66 and we didn't see much of anything. The next time we came around by Mirror and Lyons, and it was warm weather. And we hit the golf course out here, and my wife said, oh, they're playing golf. And that's her thing, you know. And so I went in and talked to Fred, and I came back out, and she says, well, what are you gonna do? And I said, probably we'll be making a deal here, and that was about the way it happened. But when I came, the Divine Hotel was working, and Dewey Hesse was here, and Bob Lear was across the street, Howard Smiley was at the A&P, and Laban Smith was next door to me. No.
Down to
Down, yes, and
clothing stores.
Bessie and Leo had the clothing store, Laban's. And by heavens, we had a lot of hardware. And there was Swarthouse, and yeah, it was. And we had the Penny Saver, and it was just going. And Joe with his 5 and dime there, and it was great. My little girl, she went. The youngest one went there, and she was so impressed. And she came back and that night. She said, Daddy, I went to the diamond store. So anyway, we had a lot of activity, a good Chamber of Commerce, and I think the Dodge Light Brothers were still, and across Minkley had the Ford Garage, and yeah, we had pretty active business life here. And then I got to getting a few things together here, and Jerry this guy here, I had to put up with him for 4 years, you know, and he finally made it. Anyway, in the deed and abstract, it starts out in the name of Stella Dexter Perigo to the Crane Drug Company in 1920. And the A.A. Mack was a treasurer. And then the Crane Drug Company sold to A.A. Mack in 1924, a 4-year span. And then from that was, he sold to Harry Owen in 1928, and then Harry to Fred Mead in 1951. So it was a span of 30, 31, or 23 years there. And then Fred sold to me in 1959, and I had it until 1984 and then sold to Jerry. I always remember that as quite, we hadn't talked too much about that, but when you went down to Arlington, Illinois, that was a lesson, wasn't it?
Oh,
or was
Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
Yeah.
Anyway, he came back, and I told him, I said, well, whenever time you have time off, I want some of it. And he followed through on that pretty well. I appreciated that.
All my vacations were his.
Huh?
All my vacations were yours.
Yeah. And then it came time Harold, the realtor.
Green.
Green.
No.
Stores?
Harold Green.
Yeah.
Came by one day and he said, do you ever think about selling your place? And I said, I'd sell anything I got the right price. He says, well, there's been a couple of people looking at it. And he said, not only once, but twice. And I said who it was, and he says a married man and his wife are both pharmacists that are working over in Grand Rapids. And that, I thought, well, I called him. Oh, that's Harold. Says, well, he says, I said, I already have somebody. And he says, you do? And I said, yes. And he said, you have it in writing? I said, I don't have to have it in writing. And I called up Gary, and that's where it started from there.
You forgot to tell me about it.
Well, you know.
Yeah,
So, and that's how it started out. It's been a very good place for my family, and it's been home, and we've been now here, living here 52 years, and I don't think it could have been any better place for us than this. But I have a few things in here that I saved, and in January of '63, Ionia and Montcalm County got together and formed an association. And I think that was a good thing, because when the larger pharmacies came into being, that was when I had a chance to do a lot of the things that I was trained to do in compounding and so forth, but that they didn't have the time to do. So that, plus the fact that when the three-party payment type insurance thing came to being in 1969, we went to Kent County, and that was when Blue Cross presented their program, and we all signed up for it. And the fallback onto that was that we had really not any bargaining rights. And so there was a petition to the United States Congress that said then for three-party pay participants, that they had the right to join together to present their program and still not be within the realm of the antitrust laws. And I wrote a letter, and I got a response from them, Gerald Ford. And I have the letter here, and it told where that we had to kind of hold back because amendments to a bill, and if there are too many, you eventually go back to committee. And then later on, I got another one where that they put it back onto the floor. But I was quite happy that we got some recognition. The other thing was the Medicaid program. Now this is where, when I first came, I had a chance, to talk to people when they came.